Hey there, girls. Welcome to another episode of High Energy Girl. And today I'm super excited because we have Dr. Eric Zielinski on the show, who is the handsome husband of Mama Z we had on a couple weeks ago. I feel so bad because last time we completely shunned him out of our conversation. And so he is back to talk about essential oils in depth and how they can improve your life. So let's go say hi to Dr. Z. Welcome to High Energy Girl, a podcast helping women to age stronger because it is never too late to get fit, be strong, and feel sexy. I'm your host, Tracy Gluheich, health coach and personal trainer and founder of highenergygirl.com. Each week, we will either have a guest interview, which will provide you an actionable tip to help you age stronger, or I will do a solo episode that we will have a fun challenge for the month. Please also join our Facebook group, High Energy Girls. Looking forward to seeing you on the inside. Hope you enjoy the show. Hey, beautiful. My name is Tracy, and I'm a health coach and personal trainer and founder of highenergygirl.com. My passion is to help women become high-energy, fat-burning phenoms without starving to death and spending hours in the gym. So are you exhausted from the crazy holidays and maybe feeling a little bit of fluffy? Well, guess what? You are in luck because I put together a high-energy transformation guide, and it is completely free. And it's going to help you boost your energy, banish brain fog, build a little muscle, and burn off that belly fat. Okay, so here's what is in the guide. First off, it starts with mindset, because let's face it, your body can do it. It's your mind you have to convince. Next, we have food. There are 3 phases of the food plan to help you heal your body and create a fat-burning machine. It is awesome, trust me. Also, fitness. We have components for both the home and the gym, beginning, intermediate, and advanced, because if you want to age stronger, then you need to move. And lastly, and most important, is self-care, because let's face it, we women are so crazy busy taking care of everybody else, our homes, our jobs, our families, that we don't take time for ourselves. And even on the airplane, the flight attendant says to put your oxygen mask on first. So grab this free guide, 21 days, high energy transformation. Just click on the link below and that will show up in your inbox right away. Hey, Dr. Z, thanks so much for coming on the show today.
Well, thank you. I know you and Mama Z had a lot of fun, and I'm like, well, I'm jealous. I got Tracy envy over here. Let's get this thing done.
Oh, that is hilarious. Yeah, we had such a great conversation. We were all over the place. We talked about so many different things. And so I'm looking forward to hearing your point of view on a lot of the things that we talked about. So for the listeners that don't know you yet, why don't you just give them a little bit of an overview of who you are and how you got to be where you're at today?
Well, first off, my name is Dr. Eric Zielinski, and when people see my last name, they look at it and they're like, what? And I just had jury duty just a couple weeks ago, and when they were calling out my name, they just butchered my name. I'm just like, call me Dr. Z. So Dr. Z became a fun little name because they always got overwhelmed by looking at my last name, and that's where we got Mama Z from. So you can call me Eric, you can call me Dr. Z, you can call me whatever, but that was something fun that we came up with. And my wife and I, Sabrina, have been on a mission to help people not suffer the way that we have. And we got hit over the head with the chronic illness stick ever since we were little babies, really. We both dealt with a lot of things. When we met each other, we were on our own healing journey. And then my just being way out of balance and extreme nature, and her, well, hey, let's kind of think about things before we do things, we really help balance each other out. And it's been a lovely journey. It has been a lovely journey to help each other through the things that have really plagued us, like gut issues. And I battled with significant depression, suicidal thoughts. I self-medicated it. I was an alcoholic. I abused narcotics. I was smoking pot and drinking and smoking cigarettes, and I just was a wreck. And I was a young man, late teenager, with no purpose, no drive, no focus, and I fell into just a really dark hole. And and compound that with cystic acne, a chronic stammering condition, just unbelievable gut issues that just keeled me over in pain, and chronic pain throughout my body. It was just weird. Like, I remember a neurologist looking at me and saying, "What did you do to yourself? You have a spine of a 50-year-old." And I was like 19, 20 at the time. I don't know. Like, it was something that if I look back, I think I can equate it to a lot of things. I wasn't breastfed. I was formula fed. I was on a lot of antibiotics when I was a kid. I was on the standard American diet, like Kraft singles and bologna. And seriously, I was just a typical kid in the 80s. And now I'm 39 years old. I'm healthier and more vibrant than I've ever been. I have a lust for life. I love life. Like, I see my little children who just have a lust for everything good and happy, and it's a good lust, right? And my wife and I have just determined in our heart to help people. And lo and behold, by God's grace, we've been able to do this professionally now for about 5 years. And where the passion and the purpose became our career, that was when all the stars aligned.
Aww. I have to say that is the magic, and that is so where I can't wait to be in that position. That is cool.
And it happens. I think it happens eventually. I think it all happens in perfect timing for people. And here's a pro tip for a lot of you folks that are stuck, in your job. I get it. And sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. You got to do what you got to do, provide for your family. And I get that, especially single working moms. I get it. But you know what? Work with all your heart at what you do. And in your free time, do your passion and start to look for creative ways of monetizing your passion. And it's just, and lo and behold, we make a way. Like, when you intentionalize something, you will manifest that reality in the future. And for us, we were doing this for free. I mean, for free. At churches, at local groups, speaking and writing and all this stuff. And then it's like, oh, cool. Wow, we can get paid for this. So yes, that is the wonder. And Tracy, you're so close, and you have the platform, and your listeners, just be inspired, y'all. There is purpose, and we have found purpose in our pain, and that's the key for us. And people don't know, what's my purpose? Well, I don't know. Well, we found that you have to go through something, typically speaking, whether it's you overcome a horrible divorce or a bankruptcy or health conditions like us, you become a conqueror, so to speak. You get your victory. And then you can be able to share that with people. And then you resonate. Now you have a community. Now you have an online tribe or whatever that people want to learn from you because, hey, if I did it, so can you. So we try to help people also find their purpose in their pain. And it's wonderful. It really is. It's a place of victory, and it's a place that you never look back.
Yeah, that is very, very cool. And what kind of a doctor are you?
I am a doctor of chiropractic and a public health researcher. And a few years ago, several now, I was a medical writer paying the bills. And one of my clients commissioned me to write a series of public health reports on essential oils. And that's what got me. Because Sabrina's been using oils forever, right? I'm sure she told her story on your show last time you guys chatted. But I kind of marginalize them as smelly stuff. Like, seriously, I'm not going to go play flag football or ultimate frisbee with my guy friends smelling like ylang ylang. They will take my guy card away. It's just guaranteed. So I was like, okay, these things are for Sabrina. No, but when I was forced, it was my job to read hundreds of different articles and research trials on essential oils. I'm like, what is this stuff? Because my healing journey happened through nutrition, prayer, meditation, exercise. Essential oils just weren't in my world. I just wasn't introduced to them until really I met Sabrina. And then when it was my job to learn about them, I went to Sabrina and, being the wonderful wife that she is, I'm like, hey, did you know this? Do you know that? She was like, yeah, I've been trying to tell you that for 5-6 years. So anyway, that's what started me on my journey. And so you add to what I did in schooling, I went to aromatherapy school because I realized, and this is a huge warning for everyone listening right now, that if you are getting your medical advice on Pinterest, if you're going to your favorite mommy blogger or drsoandso.com to find health solutions, be very, very careful, because unless someone's been trained in aromatherapy and has understanding of anatomy and physiology and drug interactions and toxicology, you have no idea what you're getting yourself into. And so I started doing research on these blogs, and I hosted a telesummit 4 years ago, the Essential Oils Revolution. And I started interviewing people, and I started getting questions from people around the globe. Like, we have 165,000 people attend that first event. That was now May 2015, 4 years ago now. And the one commonality I saw was that most of the information online was biased because most people are either were or are associated with an essential oil company, or that's not a bad thing, but coming from a public health background, that's like financial bias 101. You don't get your medical advice from someone who gets kickbacks from a company, A. And B, a lot of the people didn't have training and they didn't understand proper dilutions and max and dermal dosages. And this the recommendations are just nonsense. Where you have like 15, 20 drops in a capsule and take this 5 times a day. Like, where are you coming up with that stuff? This is like medicine. So I was convicted. I really was. And I believe God put on my heart, you got to go to aromatherapy school. You have to sit under a trained aromatherapist and learn. And that's what I did. And I spent a couple years studying, learning, wrote a book from my research that became an instant bestseller, The Healing Power of Essential Oils. And next thing you know, Mama Z and I are on just a whole nother project with this new book, The Essential Oils Diet, and helping people now that they know how to learn, now that they've learned how to use oils, how do you incorporate that into like a diet program and help you live like truly day to day? How do you eat? How do you exercise? How do you incorporate oils in your everyday life to another level?
Yeah, that sounds so interesting. Like that is one area that I've known is very beneficial, but I really truly have never dove into it because I know it's not it's kind of complicated to me. It's like a little, chemistry, which is not my favorite topic.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it's obviously a natural type of, beautiful chemistry that's healing. So, I don't understand. It kind of doesn't make sense to me. Can you explain how you say essential oils diet, like in one sentence?
A diet is a collection of the foods that you consume.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have a lifestyle approach that incorporates essential oils in it. Very simply put, we could have easily have called the book The Essential Oils Lifestyle. We could have called it The Essential Lifestyle, but it became The Essential Oils Diet because it was so food related. That's really the bottom line. You can consume them, and we show you how to consume them in a lot of recipes. And we also show you how to apply them topically.
Okay.
But it really is a lifestyle approach.
Okay, well, that's what I was trying to get. Like, are you eating the oils? So I guess you are. So now it's my understanding that some oils are edible and others are not. Is that true?
Oh, yeah. And that, the word edible is kind of a tricky one. It's essentially, is it safe for consumption or not? And that's where it boils down to, will it be toxic to your body or will it be beneficial? So an essential oil is either pure or not. It's that simple. Right? When you extract the plant matter, and just kind of give you a visual here, to get one itty bitty bottle of lavender, like a 15 milliliter bottle, it'll take roughly 35 pounds of lavender flowers. All right?
No way.
Yeah. So just think about that for a second. They are natural insofar as the fact that, yes, they could be extracted from nature, but you're not going to walk into a lavender field and like see a pool of lavender. It just doesn't exist, right? They're highly processed man-made products. And they need to be steam distilled. So you get 35 pounds of lavender flowers. That's one reason why oils are somewhat expensive. And just try to conceptualize how much that is. And then you distill it down. You get 250 drops or so of that, right? So you need to consider what we're dealing with here. We're dealing with something that is extracted from nature. We're dealing with something that has gone through a highly processed, we're the highly manufactured process. And unless it is completely pure, then there could be some other things in it, like synthetic chemicals, pesticides. And what a lot of manufacturers are doing is they are mixing the oils with carrier oil so they could save money, or cheaper versions of oil, or synthetic versions of the oil that you can get for pennies on the dollar because they're making them in a lab. And so if an oil is pure, then the list of oils that are safe to consume is huge. I mean, just hundreds and hundreds of different oils are safe to consume.
Oh.
The ones that are not safe to consume for sure are the ones that are synthetic, the ones that are filled with chemicals. And that's somewhat tough to find out because a label on the bottle isn't going to say laced with pesticides. It's not going to say laced with synthetics, right? We talk about that in my first book. But the other thing is there are certain oils that are safe in minor doses. And so the best example is wintergreen. What do you think flavors your root beer? Think about that for a second. Like microdoses. What do you think flavors your Coca-Cola? Microdoses of essential oils. The food and flavor industry uses more than 50% of all the oils manufactured on the planet. That's what flavors our food, y'all. And so whether it's synthetic or whether it's the real deal, so when you get wintergreen is known to be toxic if consumed at certain levels. But when you're using microdosage, like, I don't know, 1,000th of a drop, that's safe in your root beer, because that's what makes root beer root beery, right? With birch and some other clove and some other fun things. But if you take 5 drops of wintergreen oil, that has been shown to have a toxic effect on the body. So it really all boils down to dosage, because this is medicine, just like your chemotherapy or your ibuprofen. 1 pill is good, 100, you might die. So in that sense, theoretically, all essential oils are safe to consume. There are a few like wormwood and rue and some other ones, bitter almond, that you can't even buy those on the market. But every oil on the market theoretically is safe to consume if it's within a smaller dosage. But we're trying to help people use the doses that are normal, like a drop. Like who can get down to who can fraction down to 1/1,000,000th of a drop? It's just impossible for most people. So we teach people the lemons, the orange, the peppermints, the oreganos, the oils that you can use 1, 2, 3 drops at a time. That's what we're focused on, and helping the people use the more common oils like that.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I love certain oils. I use them already, but I don't really have a routine. So maybe checking out and diving deeper into that topic would be really good, so that you can create a healthy habit by doing different daily rituals with the oils.
Oh, yeah, that's wonderful. For us, when it comes to health, we don't want people to be on oils the rest of their life like a drug. I really don't want that. I don't want you to have to take essential oils to manage your blood pressure or your blood sugar, but it could help you through a little hump. We really try to help people deal with the root cause of their disease, and most of which has to do with like this core inflammatory response that happens because of the foods that we eat and the thoughts that we contain and the emotions that run amok and the drugs that we take. We're just running around chronically inflamed. That creates havoc on our immune system and guts. So oils help with that. See, oils can help with the root cause of disease. What we do is we have a regular oil routine that enhances our life. Like me today, after I got out of the shower, I had this like creamsicle blend, like orange and vanilla, and my mom, Mama Z calls it her joyful blend. Like I add a couple more citrus oils to it. I just like putting that over my body. Like it's a nice enhancement. It actually has been shown to be anti-inflammatory, helps burn some fat, but makes me happy. Like that's how I like to use oils. Right now I have my diffuser kicking here with lime and bergamot. That's like my boom, focus, awesome, happy blend. This is something that I go back to. It's one of my favorite blends that I have. We use oils to enhance our life, to enhance the body care and the cleaning products, but we don't have to use oils. And that's the difference is people, you don't need to be on a $500 supplement regimen the rest of your life. Like, where did that become normal, right? And that's really my big issue with functional medicine. That is a big keyword now in the health space. Is like, okay, don't take drugs, but take supplements. Like, what's the difference? I don't want people to be on supplements the rest of their life because they have to. They're going to get sick. You want to take supplements and oils to enhance your life. So that's really what we try to do. And that's the core. That's really the core thesis of our book, The Essential Oils Diet, is to help you heal. I mean, really heal. So that way you could use supplements and essential oils and herbs and spices to make your life better.
So what are the things that you're trying to help people heal from exactly?
You name it. I mean, really, it's when you look at the common denominators of all disease, it's you see inflammation every which way. I mean, that's the first one we try to help people. I mean, that's been linked to autoimmunity, cancer, gut disorders, immune function, everything. So that's the first thing that we really try to help people.
And what do you think's the root cause of that inflammation?
Oh, it's a mixture. It's, for me, it's the same reason why are so many people overweight. It's the same answer, is we've been overloaded with toxins in our life, in our body. Like we have become a just toxic bucket. I don't know what else to say. The bucket's full, y'all, from the air that you're breathing, the chemicals that are in your body care, your cleaning products that you put on your skin that seep into your bloodstream, to the foods that you eat, and the thoughts and the emotions that you carry. All this is toxic. All this is an assault. And interesting thing though too, let's really nail down what inflammation is, because inflammation isn't bad. I mean, inflammation is a mechanism given to us by God to heal. So when you cut yourself, which I'm one that normally cuts myself because I'm going too quick in the kitchen. I'm careless in the kitchen. I confess.
Me too.
And I don't get out the cutting board. I'm like cutting the apple in my hand and like, oh, there goes my finger again. So I regularly cut at least a couple times a month. Not bad, but a little nick. Every time I cut my finger, which is normal, I get a little, what happens when you cut your finger? What happens when you stub your toe? Blood shunts to that area. There's pain. There's redness. There's the cardinal signs, swelling, right? Basically, all the different things that say something's wrong here, stop, right? Because if you don't have pain, you're going to hurt yourself again, and you can actually cause like permanent damage. Pain is a good thing, by the way. It's a warning sign. Blood shunting, swelling is a way to protect and bring healing, because blood brings nutrients that bring healing to a wound. So inflammation is a healing mechanism. The problem is, what happens if I cut myself at the same spot over and over and over and over and over again? Now it's going to cause serious damage, and my body won't be able to heal. So what's happening in the internal system of your body, your arterial system, your lymphatic system, all throughout your organs, where there's chronic inflammation, low doses of chronic like assault to your body. And that's what inflammation is the response to something bad, the response to something harmful. It's good, it's normal in the short term, but if it's perpetual, which for most people it is, because the way that we eat, the way that we think, what we put on our skin, what we breathe, all that stuff, it's about stopping the assault and letting the body finally heal. And the first thing that usually goes for people is pain. And that's a chronic condition across the board. Like the first thing that people see once they really start soothing inflammation is like no more headaches, no more migraines, no more joint pain. And then sleeping gets like profoundly better. And then they get a really nice sex drive. And then they get healthy hunger cravings. And then all those things that make us human really start to like expound. They're like, wow, you start feeling better. Mood starts to balance. You don't get angry as much. And you don't get as impatient as much. You're much more balanced, and because your body's able to function the way that it was designed to function. Like look at a kid. And I see this. Our kids will have an absolute meltdown. It's like their world just like crumbled. 5 seconds later, they're okay. They just like let it go. Like if you have a meltdown, if something bad happens to you, it could ruin your day. It could ruin your week. It could ruin your life as an adult. So you look at kids and you look at how quickly they rebound from things. And that just reminds me, like, we still have that ability within us as adults, and there's a whole other realm when it comes to kids with that I've learned. But it's really about doing the things that we need to do to bring healing to the body instead of harming it.
And what do you think that begins with, the healing?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, because in our book, there's a chapter called The Keys to the Abundant Life. And it's towards the end of the book. And it's after people, focus on their food and their diet. Like that's a lot of stuff people have already heard of. Like I'm not here to tell you to eat fruits and vegetables again. You've heard that a million times. But one thing people don't get is the significant, like deep ramification, the harmful effects that toxic emotions have on your body. It's proven, like it's science. You will produce hormones and neurotransmitters will be released due to self-loathing, due to unforgiveness, due to anger, bitterness. And so one thing we try to teach, we have a 12-step program, we call it. It's like how to detox your emotions, how to regain control of your heart, your soul, your spirit. And first is forgiveness. Unforgiveness is like taking poison and expecting someone else to get hurt. You're the only one that gets hurt. You are the only one. And it's hard. It's hard when you've been hurt. It's hard when you've been abused. I get it. I come from an abusive background. And it's to me, it's one of the lies of the devil to convince us that, they don't deserve it. No. They don't, but you do. And so one of the first things is forgive whoever it is. In which, by the way, Dr. Tony Jimenez, who's a very close friend of ours, world-renowned oncologist, he's convinced that cancer is an emotional disorder. And every one of his patients, he brings them through emotional recall healing. And it's usually forgiveness to someone who hurt them. Let go of the bitterness. The Bible calls it that root of bitterness, like pluck it up. Next is forgive yourself.
Yeah, I was just going to add that.
Right? Right? You got to, because I don't care what situation you're in, especially, this is why we wrote the diet book too, by the way. There's no other situation that I've seen that creates self-loathing like being obese or being overweight. You just hate yourself. You hate how you look. You're embarrassed. You're ashamed. And just all these emotions that happen. It's very natural. It's very normal. I'm not saying it's healthy, but it seems to be the typical response of someone who allowed themselves. Maybe someone has been abused or traumatized, or they deal with stress by comfort eating. However, whatever the reason is, right? It's typically something that we find that people really, really start hating themselves, like at a deep emotional level. And I'll tell you flat out, as a recovering addict, alcoholic, and smoker, I don't know anyone who smokes a pack of cigarettes a day who truly loves themselves. I mean, you know it's bad, y'all. I mean, you know it will cause cancer. I mean, it is beyond a shadow of a doubt. The warnings and everything else, unless you live under a rock, there is a level of self-loathing. And I vividly remember being in my young 20s, smoking, about to do some stupid drugs I shouldn't have done, and said, you know what, I don't care. I remember literally thinking, I don't care. I just want to feel better for a minute. And when you fall in love with yourself, you will not allow yourself to do things that you know will harm you, because your body's all you really got. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all you really got. So we try to teach people how to love themselves again. And then we go through some other things like letting go and how to let go and how to meditate and how to have like emotional detox breaks and get out in nature and do things, prayer, meditation, all these things, you know, we can, like our core 12-step program. And that's like a missing key to all of this. And that is where the true healing starts. And then everything becomes easy. Eating becomes easier now. You have motivation. You're accountable to you instead of accountable to a scale or accountable to someone else. And how many people do we know spending $100 on organic dog food, but they're going to McDonald's? It's like, eat better than your dogs. Eat better, you know? That's the concept that I'm not worth it. Yes, you are. That's a lie from the pit of hell. You are worth it.
Yeah.
Right?
And what kind of foods do you want to see people eating? I remember a phrase I heard from you called bioactive.
So we got something wrong. And I don't know. I don't want to blame Atkins because he's been long dead now. And, you know, he caused a lot of problems. He really did. He and some other people in the day, and they made millions of dollars on their stuff. And I think, interesting enough, he died of a heart attack. You know, you just kind of think about that. Like, man, that's interesting. Something happened around the Atkins era and a little bit before that we became fixated with quantity and we let go of quality. We were fixated with the amount of carbs, fats, proteins that we were consuming. We were fixated with the amount of calories, vitamins, minerals. And so instead of focusing on the quality of the food, like consuming clean, non-toxic food, it was just all about, I got to reach a number. And that really cascaded a whole generation now into of disease that now we see 1 in 2 people will end up with cancer unless something drastically changes. And so what we try to do is kind of shine the light on plant-based compounds that we know as bioactive compounds. So if you have a diet rich in, what are they called, like carotenoids, flavonoids, polyphenols, we have all heard of these things. Like, they are antioxidant-rich plant-based chemicals. These are, combine them together with, by the way, essential oils. Essentially everything healthy in plants, you combine them together, and they create what's known as a bioactive group. And so it boggles my mind that we haven't heard this term before. It's like really new. It's like, I can't believe our book's like the first book ever to talk about bioactive compounds. It's been in the research for years. And the thing about it is researchers have said this, and this is what's really shocking to me, is because essential nutrients are what the Atkins folks were talking about. The fats, the proteins, and carbs. Yes, you need those to live. They are, quote, essential to life. So they're called essential nutrients. But what about the non-essential nutrients? Well, those are the polyphenols, the carotenoids, the flavonoids, and the antioxidants. Like, you don't need those to live. But here, this is a direct quote from the European Journal of Nutrition. This was published 6 years ago, so this isn't new, by the way. Whereas the absence of essential nutrients from the diet results in overt deficiency, right? Oftentimes with moderate to severe physiological decrements. The absence of bioactive substances from the diet results in suboptimal health. What does that say? If you don't want to be overtly deficient, you have to consume, right, the macronutrients, the fats, the carbs, and proteins. We get that already. But if you don't consume a diet rich in plant-based compounds, the bioactive compounds, you'll never be truly healthy. Your immune system will never properly function, and you'll always be chronically unwell.
And so I totally agree with you with all that. I am a big, right now I don't even use lettuce when I make a salad. I love salad. But now I'm using things as broccoli sprouts because I grow them at home, and cilantro. And I use a cruciferous like shredded mix with like Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cabbage, just like a cruciferous mix in there. And like pumpkin seeds. And so I don't use lettuce because I feel like it bulks you up without, having a lot of nutrition in it. And I love the term that we are overfed and undernourished.
Yes, that's exactly what this has to do. And we're trying to help people remember that this is about quality, not quantity. And you get the bioactive compounds. You get the antioxidant-rich compounds in your fruits, your vegetables, your beans, your legumes, some of the healthy grains. And there's a lot of unhealthy grains, not because they're unhealthy by nature. It's unhealthy because we screwed them up. And that's a whole nother topic that we really cover in depth in the book, the truth about gluten, the truth about grains. And we cover other things, too, like we cover meat, we cover dairy, and some other warning signs. Because I'll tell you one thing. A big warning, and we're not vegetarian. We do eat about 85-90% plant-based anyway, which I think is our natural, evolutionarily based biblical diet from the very beginning of time. Meat is very troublesome for people now, primarily because of the toxins that are in the meat. Even if you get organic grass-fed, you're still finding glyphosate in the meat products because what do you think they're spraying the grass with? And so it's becoming near impossible unless you get local, that the farmer and the person feeding the cattle. It's really hard to get clean meat now. It's really hard to get clean meat. Same thing with pork and chicken. Fish is even getting more challenging. It's just the way that we just mess stuff up. And yes, we have messed stuff up too in the plant world, but it's a lot easier to get good, healthy plants than it is to get animal products. So we caution people about the overconsumption of meat. We really do, and we try to bring a moderation to that. And a lot of people feel better, and they don't even realize, especially who can really afford a lot of these expensive meats too. Like that's really where you really break the bank on your food budget. I mean, organic, local, grass-fed beef, which by the way might not even be all that they label it. It's super pricey.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of grass-fed beef. That's like one of my favorites. But what I don't understand is how can there be glyphosate on the grass that they're feeding the cows if it's organic?
Well, that's the thing. Why is it? How about this? What is the determination of organic? It's typically the feed. If
right.
They're feeding. So if they're feeding it, but not the grass. Like there is no such thing as organic grass. They're not, and that's the problem. Even runoff water, drift wind, the farms down the road. Like we found essential oils, and there was a huge conference in 2014 in Italy, Rome, that evaluated organic essential oils, and they found pesticide residues in a lot of them. It's just the nature of the beast right now. They're everywhere.
Right.
And your farm might not be, but that's the thing about it. It's like the standards to get the organic label are absolutely a joke. Like they're a joke, and it's a pay to play deal. It really is. And so to make sure that the animal only consumes completely organic food is virtually impossible. And there's no way of monitoring that. There really isn't.
Right. And
It's
the
scary.
same thing, it's the same thing with vegetables though. We have an organic farm. We live on 5 acres, and on both sides of our property are grapes. So we know that they're spraying the grapes, but it's the best that we can do. So our fruit is certified organic, but we can't control what happens in the wind. And I also believe in the world in general, the rain comes from evaporated water from the earth, right? And then the clouds move. So wherever the clouds are gathering this evaporated water, and wherever they move and they dump on wherever they dump, you can't control that. So I think that eating organic obviously is the best that we can do, but it's never going to be, foolproof.
Yeah, exactly. And it's something to keep in mind, like all that. Just be cautious of labels. I mean, labels are marketing. That's all that they're not labeling it for your benefit. I mean, seriously, people, they're not doing it. They're doing it to make money. Same thing with the essential oil world, like pure, certified pure, like that means nothing. It means nothing. Anything on the label, especially in the supplement world, no one's monitoring this stuff, y'all. Like the FDA and any other third-party governing agency that's not being on someone's payroll isn't checking the purity of what's on the market. They're not checking supplements and essential oils. It's a fact.
Yeah.
And so you just got to be careful. You really have to vet out the company. And yes, if you could find good, to me, the best thing to do, like for us, we know a local turkey farmer who takes care of the turkeys. We trust them. We'll get turkey for Thanksgiving from him only. So that's kind of what we do. It's like, but I'll tell you something. There's local farmers that we know are good, that do grass-fed beef the right way. And so for us, again, it's like, I'm just, the whole meat topic is kind of scary when you think of it, because the meat industry is the number one consumer of water on the planet. It just takes an exorbitant amount of water to feed, clean, prepare all the stuff related to beef. And so our ancestors just did not have the ability to consume meat every day because they just didn't have the amount of cattle, beside maybe little subpopulations. Like we know our ancestors always, from the beginning of time, consumed a heavily plant-based diet, meat on occasion, and a lot of fish if they lived near a water source. But if you lived near a water source, you didn't have fish. So you think about that. You think about your ancestry. Like I'm from Sicily, my family. I'm from Poland, like split right down the middle. My mom's side's Sicily, my dad's side's Poland, and we could trace our lineage back. Like just think about what my ancestors ate. So that also will help you to navigate, like, why do certain things bother you? Like I do really well with grains. Like I do really good with wheat, if it's good wheat. But my wife doesn't as much. Like she comes from a background and a culture that didn't consume wheat. But, Italian, like, yeah, all day long, baby, pasta. And I do good on that, like within moderation, of course. And so it's about helping people find out what works for them and how to live a life that's really pleasing. Because we're not telling you just to eat rice cakes and, like you said, bib lettuce. Like that's a joke. We're trying to eat nutritious, good. And you mentioned cruciferous veggies. Amen, girl, because we have a cruciferous veggie cancer-fighting coleslaw recipe in our book. And we're trying to teach people, yeah, you could really, really eat tasty foods. And that's the genius of my wife. Because when I met her, I know she laughs at me all the time. Like everything was green and brown. Like I ate flavorless food, but it was healthy. And I was the healthiest person you'd ever meet. But you would not want to come to my home for dinner. She made us the envy of the neighborhood. Everyone wants to come over our house for dinner because she's making all the best pizzas and sweet stuff and healthy stuff and lasagnas and salads that are really like legit salads and all the stuff that you're like squash souffle, like people die for. It's like, that's the wonder of my wife. And that's kind of the cool. It's like this book is our 5th baby. We've had 4 human babies. This is our 5th baby. And it was something that we did together, which is a blessing because we do want to let people know that living a healthy life can and should be very, very satisfying.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I agree. People say, because I eat a paleo keto diet, and people like my mom especially, she's like, how can you, it's too hard to not eat bread. And I'm like, you know what? To me, it's not, because I literally live off of vegetables, protein, healthy fats, and, and it tastes delicious. Like I crave a good crunchy salad. So I want to ask you another question. So, okay, a lot of women who listen to the show have cravings and food addictions. And I remember hearing that you have a way to use essential oils to help counter that.
Oh yeah. And one thing though too is to satisfy your craving with something good, a healthy version of it. So it's about finding what it is that you really, really want and coming up with a version of it that will make you feel good and that will help you not break your lifestyle commitment. And that's what we call it. It's a lifestyle commitment. So we do eat chocolate and cookies and cakes and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, legit, they're good for us. But of course, if I have 100 cookies, and I actually talk about that in our recent podcast, my fat pants story, and you can go out of moderation for sure. So first of all is finding solutions to that. But I don't feel like you need to abstain. And this is a really cool pro hack for those people that want to be healthy, but they struggle during the holidays. You don't have to. Like, bring your natural, gluten-free, dairy-free, sugar-free version of pumpkin pie to Thanksgiving dinner. And my brother's mother-in-law, she just got on keto, actually, during Thanksgiving, and she was dreading Thanksgiving dinner. And she actually told my wife. And when Sabrina brought her cool treat, she's like, thank you so much. I was just dreading coming here today. I didn't think I was going to be able to eat anything. So set yourself up for success. That you will always have your version. But when it comes to essential oils, if you're really, really craving something, like if you are straight up addicted to sugar, which don't be guilty of it, just break the habit. There are things you can do. And we have something called our Quit Stick recipe. And it's actually something to help people. Originally, we developed this to help people overcome smoking, because black pepper oil specifically was shown in research trials to help with the withdrawals of people getting off of nicotine. And so we started developing these quit sticks. Essentially, it's a toothpick that you soak, that you absorb, allow the toothpick to absorb essential oils, and then you suck on the toothpick. And yeah, it's really kind of smart for smokers. And I'm like, well, if it works for smokers, well, wouldn't it work for other addiction? And so I started diving into the research. I'm like, it makes sense. Addiction is addiction. And whether it's sex, whether it's drugs, whether it's food, it's the same cascade. It's the same trigger in the brain. And so we started using these for food addiction. And it was like, the response was the same. And so a lot of people with food addiction, like smoking, similar to smoking, have an oral fixation. They just need something in their mouth all the time. So what we do is you start with a glass, like a shot glass or a jigger glass, whatever you call it, a 1 ounce glass. Has to be glass, not plastic. You get a really small glass measuring cup. You want to fill that with 20 drops of black pepper, 10 drops of grapefruit, 5 drops of peppermint, 5 drops of orange, and 5 drops of cinnamon bark. And then you fill up halfway or so of the glass with an edible carrier oil. We recommend olive oil or grapeseed oil. And you put toothpicks in there and let them soak overnight or two. And you take the toothpicks out, let them dry, and whenever you're jonesing for something you shouldn't be having, put it in your mouth. Watch what happens. And I'm telling you, it works.
Jonesing.
And then it comes back from my pot days. You can use the same blend in your diffuser. Again, black pepper, cinnamon, peppermint, orange, cinnamon bark, right? Grapefruit. Same one in your diffuser. You can make a roll-on. All these recipes are in the book, right? You can make a roller bottle. We can apply it over your neck or your tummy just so you can start smelling it. And these compounds penetrate in your bloodstream. So these anti-addictive, hunger, craving, satisfying, I'm cool, I feel full kind of oils, because that's what they do too. Cinnamon bark balances blood sugar, and we know that rampant blood sugar just causes unhealthy cravings for sugar. Like, that is a problem that a lot of people have. Type 2 diabetes leading to obesity leading to type 2 diabetes. It's a vicious cycle. So if you could balance your blood sugar, that will also help with cravings. That's cinnamon bark. Peppermint just gives you a nice boost. It actually helps you feel full. It actually has been shown to improve athletic performance. So that's why we add peppermint. Grapefruit and orange, those are oils that actually help boost mood. And here's the one thing too, and I'll say from personal experience, I found myself diving, and this is going back to my fat pants story. I dove into unhealthy eating behaviors because I was battling something emotionally, and it was a crutch. I don't know anyone, really, truly, I don't know anyone who is like really loving life, loving themselves. Again, we talked about this in just a minute ago, but I don't know anyone who's like really, truly happy that is a slave to their taste buds. You know, there's something about joy, happiness, contentment. And yes, you might want a piece of cake once in a while, but we're talking like I'm like addicted to sugar. I'm about to kill someone unless I get a piece of something, right? You don't see that with emotionally stable, and I'll use that word very carefully because I was emotionally unstable, people that are happy, joyful, that have balanced emotions. So that's why we like to incorporate the essential oil, the orange and citrus oils. And not only that, here's another cool tip. Citrus oils have been shown to burn fat clinically. Just you smell them and it triggers what's known as lipolysis. The brain will start triggering the body. Okay, burn fat here, burn fat. And so a lot of it, again, why? We don't know the mechanism, but to me, my inkling suspicion is because it produces contentment, it produces a satiety in atmosphere. Like when your body knows that your body has what it needs, it starts to digest properly. Like if your body's in this fight or flight starvation mode, it's going to preserve your fat because it doesn't know when your next meal is going to come. And people are in this fight or flight starvation mode, even though they're gorging themselves because the body doesn't recognize it has enough food because it's being starved of positive emotions. It's being starved of positive hormones. And so when you start producing positive hormones, it's like, I'm telling you, everything's connected, you know? And so it's wonderful. So yeah, that is a really cool thing. If you didn't get that recipe, listen again, press pause, go back, get the book, because there's so many little tricks that you could do. Like that's why we call it the essential oils diet, because we have found that using something like essential oils can really help people over the hump, especially people that have plateaued.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I think that you should take a orange essential oil bottle and keep it with you in your pocket or your handbag all day. That way, when you're getting that, you can use it.
Yeah, there's something called an inhaler. It looks like a lipstick tube, and you can go on Amazon for a couple bucks, type up aromatherapy inhaler, and it's just a glass tube or you can get plastic. Make sure it's a good plastic though, like a medicinal grade or PET pet plastic that won't erode. But I have a glass one here, and it's filled with a cotton tube, little swab thing that you soak that in oils. And so that's on-the-go aromatherapy. That's really the best way to do that. Or you can have like a spritzer bottle or roll-on, put it in your diffuser. But yeah, I'm addicted to feeling good, Tracy. I love it. And I'm addicted in a good way to these orange essential oils because I don't want to feel bad again. I don't. And I've been feeling good for like 15 years. I don't want to look back. So I'm all about what else can I do to make myself feel good, you know?
Oh, how funny. Yeah, I'm with you. I like that too. So I'm always looking for hacks. Like I said, I love being selfish and, learning from you guys because there's always so many people that know so much more. They've done research on different modalities and have different experiences. And I know that essential oils are so good. It's like herbs, essential oils, and even stones have power. It's like they are all natural substances to the earth. And truly, that is how the pharmaceutical industry creates pharmaceuticals, is by modeling essential oil properties, plant properties, herb properties, and how they work. But they know that they can't patent a natural product, so they'd make a chemical version of it, right? And then they go and sell it for millions of dollars.
It's like it boggles the mind. It really does.
Yeah,
it does.
God made all these wonderful things that we can all use to heal our bodies and to help ourselves. And then, the pharmaceutical mafia goes and tries to, make their version of it.
We're getting people back to nature. I don't trust a lot of what I read out in the medical world. I don't trust a lot of what I read in media. You start getting to the truth. This kind of stuff, your podcast, like this is grassroots information and this is life-saving information. And, the books that we write and the things that we all do as a community, like that's really what's going to help. And to me, I'm just here to shine my light. And you're doing a great job at shining your light and doing the things that you know how to do. And that's the only way we're going to do what we have to do and accomplish our mission to help people live the abundant life is just to educate. That's it. Is just to educate and tell them the truth And the proof is in the pudding. I mean, I challenge anyone, follow the advice that we're giving and not experience anything positive. It's like, it's almost impossible. It's like gravity. You do things good for your body. Like, there's no way in the world you're not going to feel better by not using toxic chemicals on your skin. It's just like, there's no way in the world. It's science. It's common sense. It's everything. And so once you start breaking things down like that, you're like, oh, okay, what about this? What about that? Yeah. And then it becomes really fun. You start looking at your life as like a giant jigsaw puzzle in health, and then you figure it out, and it's like, oh, cool.
Yeah, I hear you. And everybody has to be their own best biohacker and see what works for you, because what's going to work for me may not work for you, and vice versa. So how can people find your book, Dr. Z?
Please go to essentialoilsdiet.com. You can get the book anywhere. It's available everywhere books are sold. But if you go to essentialoilsdiet.com, we have a special gift. And it's actually a legit, really cool gift. Sabrina and I filmed over 4 hours of video on how to make a lot of the recipes that we talk about. Sabrina did a whole hour-long exercise demo because we have a whole exercise section. She shows you how to do all of them. But most importantly, we have a group coaching program. It's a 60-day program that we want to give you for free, because we have found that research has shown, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that it takes, on average, 66 days to form a habit. 66 days to form a habit. And that's important because we're trying to help people develop lifestyle behaviors that they'll never, ever turn back from. Healthy lifestyle behaviors that make them enjoy what they're doing. So you give us 2 months, just shy of 66. You give us 2 months and watch what happens. Your taste buds change, your hormones balance. Yeah, of course, you'll lose some weight if you need to, or you'll gain some weight if you need to, by the way. And you'll start to feel better. And the testimonies that we've gotten from the groups that we've already brought this to are amazing. Like, I'm not angry at my kids anymore. I'm reading my Bible again. I feel so much better. My emotions, like all the things. We actually have a survey, an entrance application to get part of the group. And one question is, what 3 non-health goals do you want to accomplish? Like, nothing to do with your health. And the things that we're getting. I mean, really, people want to do better in other areas of their life, not just lose weight. And so we're tracking all this with them. That's important. So we want to help you through that. Yeah, it's really special. So go to essentialoilsdiet.com, check it out, get the book. I think like Amazon's got it on sale for like $16. So it's super affordable right now. And yeah, join the movement.
So it's out already, right?
No, May 7th. Publication date. Yep, May 7th.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad that we said that so that people weren't like, what? Yeah, so May 7th. I knew that it was supposed to be coming. So, okay, awesome. So, and then we will have links to all of this in the show notes. So if you're driving and you forget, just head on over to the show notes page at highenergygirl.com/show. And then you can find all the links. And we will summarize the recipe as well, so they can get that awesome recipe that you just said.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for coming on the show today, Dr. Z. And I'm so happy that you were willing to, make a second appointment, since Sabrina and I kind of hogged that last hour.
Oh, it was great. I loved it. I really just enjoyed hearing y'all chat. And I was like, okay, well, we'll do another one. But you're the best.
Oh, you're so sweet. Tell her I said hey, and we'll talk soon.
All right.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thanks again, doctor. Bye-bye.
Yep.
Wow, I learned so much today, and I just hope you did too. So thank you so much for listening. To get that recipe that he shared with us to help conquer addiction and my husband chews tobacco, which I'm so embarrassed to admit. He's trying to stop. I can't get him to stop. He's an old farm boy. And anyways, I told him about his Dr. Z's recommendation of the black pepper oil, and he's willing to give it a shot. So head on over to the show notes page if you know somebody who could use that addiction breaker as well. And that can be found at highenergygirl.com/show. Also, please share this episode with a friend so they can learn all the juicy details about essential oils. And do go check out Dr. and Mama Z's book, because it seems really cool, and I bought mine today. So thank you so much for listening. Please head on over to iTunes and give us a rating and review so more people can find out these wonderful tips by these amazing experts on how we can all age stronger. All right. Thanks again for listening, and we will be back next week. This podcast contains the opinion and thoughts of its host and guests. It is intended to provide helpful and informative material on the subjects covered. All statements made on the podcast have not been evaluated by the FDA and are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent disease. If the listener requires professional assistance or advice, please contact your personal medical doctor. Both host and guest specifically disclaim any responsibility for any liability, loss, or risk, personal or otherwise, which is incurred as a consequence directly or indirectly of the use and application of any of the contents of these episodes. Like I said, this is my opinion and I could be wrong.